In the last video, the tier list didn't have Radical Highway or what's it called? Or Pumpkin Mansion for some reason. So I would put, you know, Radical Highway in like what I would have called, you know, pretty cool. And that where's that stupid, where's that Pumpkin Mansion? I'm gonna go in I love you. You're pretty I love you, dude. You're pretty shit, man. Yo, call me a Galactic Parade. Yo, call me a Galactic Parade the way your homies I just serenade. Hey everybody, what's up? Welcome back to the Gamescapes today, and only today we are here with part 2 of our Sonic Racing CrossWorlds stage ranking. Today we are going to be covering the CrossWorld stages. So if you have not, go watch the previous video where I ranked all the main stages, and of course subscribe to your boy and let us get to that big 80k soon. You know, let's just get to 100k. You know, I'm not fucking around anymore. Just do it. Let's lock in and do this. So obviously here I have my categories: absolute peak, I love you, you're pretty cool, okay. And how many CrossWorlds do we have in the game? We have about what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. We have about 17 CrossWorlds. I think it's like a pretty substantial number, to be honest. It's more than I actually thought. Wait, am I? Oh, dude, I can't even count. This is literally 6, 6, and then 13, 14, it's 15. GG's, I can't even talk. I don't even know what I'm doing. Anyways, I figured, yeah, we'd talk about these and we would rank them. And it's so interesting that, like, this game and Mario Kart this year both had their own versions of, like, a bridge between levels, right? You know, with Mario Kart, you have the intermissions, right? But with Sonic Racing CrossWorlds, you have the CrossWorlds, right? You have, you know, the CrossWorlds, which I think, you know, are a little bit more engaging for me, at least, in terms of levels. I know there's a lot of great intermissions in Mario Kart World. Some are better than others, but for the most part, yeah, I figured, you know, we'd lock in, rank these, see what's up with them. All right, let's start with the first one over here, Roulette Road. I really like Roulette Road. I think Roulette Road, funny enough, is actually the oldest level in the Sonic Racing series. It's been, you know, Big Go Highway, Roulette Road has been like a returning level since, it's been there since All-Stars Racing, and then it was in All-Stars Racing Transformed. It was in Team Sonic Racing. So this is one that they love having over here. And this one is a really fun one. Like, I gotta say, like, right away, the music when you go into it, like the da 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 na 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 na, like that, and like there's a path you could take where you're driving on the bingos, on the chips, right? Like, I just one thing I adore about this area is how Sonic level-y it is, right? And that's something, you know, I give big props to for certain levels where it's like, oh, this is so Sonic core, where it's like very bright, very colorful, a lot. It feels like a lot is going on in this level, from the chips flying around to the racing, you know, even on the track, there's literally a roulette that you could drive on if you want. If you're not driving on the roulette, there's boost pads, but they have like chips stacked on each other that you might bump into, right? There's a giant area where you see like the giant, like, you know, the 777 roulettes that you could do tricks on, right? Like, it is a super fun one. Now, is it the most dynamic one of all of these? No. In fact, I don't think there's a water section or a flying section. I think this one is pure racing, but I think it makes sense for this one to be pure racing, again, considering it is basically from All-Stars Racing, and you want to keep that one a little bit simpler. So this one just comes down to a few fun drifts, you know, some cool trick spots, and that's really it. But for the most part, I would put Roulette Road pretty cool. You know, I think aesthetically it's dope. It's not the most, you know, creative thing because we've seen it a lot, but whenever I go to, I'm like, all right, this is gonna be a good time. I can live here, have a good time. Nothing's gonna screw me over too much. And I don't know why, but I really like when frenzy happens here. It's something weird about me. Next up, Dino Jungle, bro. Of all series to get representation in Sonic the Hedgehog franchise history, we get Sonic and the Secret Rings represented twice, by the way, with the next one as well coming up with Kraken Bay, which I think is crazy. Like, I think it is insane that we get, you know, a Secret Rings acknowledgement. It's really cool because even like if you pick Sonic on Dino Jungle, he'll say, "The Wicked Wilds, you out there, Shara?" Which, you know, puts a little bit of a smile into my heart and soul, right? I still need to do a video like checking out all the stage dialogues that all the characters have in the game. So yeah, but Dino Jungle, one of the early levels that we saw since the game's reveals, I love this one. Like, I think this one is so much fun. You go into it, you have, you know, the flying, you know, would you call them flying birds? Well, what do you call a flying bird in dinosaurs? GG's, just slide it. It's over. I don't even remember. You start with or the fun water section where you're going down the waterfall into the track where you're doing the big jumps into a giant like open area almost where you literally have dinosaurs eating around. And I think what I like about this is, again, how dynamic it is, right? Like there's a section or a path you could take where like the dinosaur is biting the ground, that if you like you curve right to the corner, you can go past them. There's dinosaurs running around with like an item box right behind that you can grab. There's a path that's blocked between like two not pineapples, what do you call them? A cacti. What about, dude, I can't even say a word anymore. There's two cactuses where you can break an item to go through it through the boost, and then it doesn't even end there. Like you go through a little cave, you curve, and then like you're in this open like area, and at the end you're riding a giant dinosaur. Like this level to me feels as meaty as a regular stage, and like the music is awesome. It's dynamic, you know, with the moving parts of it. You know, there's no flying section, but there is a it is basically the water section and then your main driving. I think for me, Dino Jungle is an absolute peak area. I think from the music to the aesthetic to how dynamic it is, how fun it is, like I love everything about it. Like I was saying earlier, we are 2 for 2 on Sonic and the Secret Rings representation over here. So next up is Kraken Bay. Now, Kraken Bay is an interesting one. It's interesting one that they didn't pick a Black Knight stage and they just picked a second Secret Rings level, but I like this one. I think this one is really fun. Again, this is one of the early marketing materials. It is a bit of like a darker stage, you know, which is fine, right? But I really like this one because you have every mechanic in the game basically here. You have a flying section and you have a water section. It starts with the water section, then you're on the ship. And one thing I really like about being on the ship is just how many split paths there are, right? So there's a cleverness to this level where like, all right, you could go on the boost pads, but there's ghosts like tossing barrels at them, right? Or, you know, you could go on a trick grab, but the Kraken is smacking his tentacles on the ground, right? So you could choose which path you want to go on based if like you want a safer path or, you know, a more boost heavy path, but there's more tentacles attacking the ground. Sometimes you need to time your drift to take a bit more time on that spot before, you know, the Kraken's hand hits the ground. And so in that front, it is super dynamic, right? So you do a few jumps and tricks there. And yeah, the final part of it is just like this giant like flying section where like you have a lot of paths. You can go to the right and try to get into a barrel, or you can go to the left and try to dodge the giant, you know, tentacles. And I just think it's a super fun level. Like I said, I feel like it's one of those that I don't know why I don't necessarily look forward to the most going to it, but I mean, it feels like a really big level. Like that's the biggest props I give it, is that like it feels like in this one like people are separated and segmented into all different spots, and the music is really good. Like I don't know, I'm gonna put this one in I love you. I think I had a really good time whenever I go into this one. All right, next up is Lava Cave. Now representation, people say that this one is from a Sega game called Galactic Force or something. Like I don't know, I do wish, like, you know, as we're gonna be talking about it, that the CrossWorlds were actually like, you know, all Sega themed, but they do kind of seem to stick to, like, honestly, I even think it might be a reach that this one is from a Sega game. I think this Lava Cave is just a level they made that looks like that old Sega game. Maybe it took some inspiration, but yeah, regardless, Lava Cave is heavy on flying sections and you know, just racing on the ground. In fact, like it's probably pretty dynamic in that sense. You could be in the air for a while, or you could be on the ground for a while. I fuck with this one heavy. Like I think this one is one of the most fun levels in the game. Like I said, due to part of the fact that you can fly a lot through it, or you could be racing a lot through it. In fact, one of my favorite sections of it is that at the end, you could take like a bottom path where you're continuing to fly, or you could take, you know, a top path where you're on the ground. But if you're on the ground, there's like lava falling down in front of boost pads, so you got to be careful about that. There's sections in the middle where there's like giant lasers spinning around that you have to dodge through. Like it feels dynamic, right? I think that's something you're gonna hear me say a lot about some of my favorite CrossWorlds, is when they feel like, all right, a lot of shit is going on here that could screw me over, or you know, but it's a risk reward, right? It's like, all right, I can go through these boost pads, but you know, the laser is near me. There's a giant lava monster hovering right above the boost pad, so I feel like if I could go through this really quickly, I could do it. If not, I'm gonna have to turn the other way. So it does keep you on your toes, and again, it has pathing options throughout it. So I think that overall for me puts Lava Cave, I would say even music wise, like I just really like, it's like a cool rock vibe to it. I don't know. Lava Cave for me is an I Love You. I would put it like even above Kraken Bay. Would I put in peak? No, but I would say I love you. All right, next up we have Sky Road. Now Sky Road, obviously a returning level from Team Sonic Racing. In fact, one of my favorite levels from Team Sonic Racing. And the music here is Chef's Kiss. Da da na da 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 na 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 da 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 na 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 na. Sorry, I got it. But see, it's pretty simple starting out. You start with a flying section going into this one. You know, you have some item box choices or, you know, some boost choices, and then you're sort of like grounded on the sky spot. And in terms of pathing, there's not too much. There's kind of two paths you could take. Like you could sort of jump on one of the balloons to go on like a right path early on, or you could, you know, jump on another balloon to go to the left path early on. And, you know, the alt paths kind of give you some leeway, but they are really dangerous to take. So for me, Sky Road is mainly carried by the aesthetic, right? I don't think there's too much going on in this one that's like really exciting. Like at most, ooh, like there's a hot air balloon towards the end that sometimes is moving left or right that you can bounce on. There is a fun final section of it where like you just spam tricks in there, and that's really satisfying. But yeah, I think for the most part, Sky Road is definitely a song carry, and it's just fun. You know what I mean? I would even put it for me, like I'd put it above, you know, okay, because I don't think it's okay. I think it's pretty cool. You know, ooh, this is a tough one. Where do I want to go? I gotta really think because, all right, I think aesthetic puts it up. Music is pretty peak, and it's still pretty fun. It's just that there's not much to it when you're racing it. It just kind of feels like you're going through the notions. You know, you know what? I'll be a little bit more difficult. I'll put an okay. I think, you know, overall, like, it's pretty okay. Next up, oh my god, Dragon Road. They cooked a Dragon Road. I have no bad things to say about Dragon Road. One, Dragon Road in general, aesthetically, one of the best areas in Unleashed and now in this game, right where you're literally driving on the Dragon Road into a water section. You have the Phoenix tossing feathers at you. It's dynamic when you're on the water. The water section's actually fun because like the water section is so open, right? You can go towards the left to get an item box. You can go towards the middle to jump on a red ring or like a, you know, one of the ring spots. You can go towards, you know, the full right, you know, and drive if you have a boost pass, like a giant ship, right? You could go left and right towards the end. There's big drifts. It's satisfying. It's fun. Like I adore everything about the Dragon Road area, and I really think because it comes down to being dynamic and also just being an exciting track. Like for me, the biggest listen, for me, the ones that go in absolute peak are ones where I'm like, oh, you could have just been a main stage, right? Like that's how I feel about Dragon Road. Is Dragon Road, like with its length and how fun it is, it could have been one of the main tracks in the game. So music wise, it's gorgeous. Level layout again is super fun. Like I think that's the biggest thing for me about it. Is like it boils down to some good drifting, right, early on in it and towards the end of it, right? But that middle area where you are in the water, right, is just like it's pure. Like, hey, everybody go their own paths. The Phoenix is tossing stuff, so you have to dodge them. Like, and I love even when you start the area, everybody's like spamming tricks. It's super satisfying. Oh, like for me, Dragon Road, no question, one of the best CrossWorlds in the game. I would even put it above Dino Jungle. I think it's like the best one, at least for now. Continuing our path of you know, Sonic unleashing Hoska. So Hoska makes an appearance as a CrossWorld. Obviously Hoska based on, you know, Hoska from Sonic Unleashed. And I gotta say, a fun thing that people like to point out is that this is actually based on the Unleashed version of the game, even the music wise. But I gotta say, like, this level is gorgeous, right? You have the Aurora Borealis in the sky, right? Like you have the giant, you know, whales jumping around. Like it's really pretty. In terms of dynamicness, what I like about this one is, you know, you start with some drifts. There's some spikes around you making it difficult to drive around. But what's cool about this one is specifically that like there's a section in the middle where you can go on the water or you could go on a flying part, and there's multi-paths. Like I think it's a super fun one. It's one of those where like I think music and aesthetic definitely carry it, but again, I give it props. Like for me, I give it a lot of props when there's options, right? When I can choose, all right, do I want to stay in the water for now? Like I have a consistent lead, right? If I stay in the water, I can go for this item box, right? Or like For example, if Frenzy is going on where there's a level 4 drift, you know, you can choose to stay in the water, get a bunch of trick jumps, get a bunch of trick jumps. So I think that like sort of risk reward of like, hey, do I want to go on the flying section and attempt an item that's really high up? Or do I want to stay in the water where I feel like, you know, less people are going to attack me because more people want to go for flying? And obviously it's going to depend on your gadget layout and all that. So it's not too crazy in terms of like things that change throughout it, or things you have to dodge or be like very wary of, but I think, you know, it's really gorgeous. It's super fun. I'm gonna put it in pretty cool. I would even say above Roulette Road. Next up, Digital Circuit, weird Shadow the Hedgehog representation. At least that's kind of what we think. People are kind of assuming. I'm starting to think that most of these are like, you know, Sonic-esque more than they are you know, any other game. Obviously Shadow the Hedgehog is part of Sonic, but you know what I mean. But I think whatever, regardless, Digital Circuit 1, I gotta say, music is sick, visuals are awesome in this one. Like, this is one whenever like I see it in the ring about to go, and I'm like, you know what, take me to the Digital Circus, right? Take me to that level of all of them. But this one, extremely simple. Like, you know, there is no, you know, water section or flying section. No, there is a flying section. I just lied to you. Straight up, there is a flying section where you're dodging lasers. I think what I like about this one, though, is when you really think about it to its core, it's a very simple track. Like, there's layers. There's always like a top path and a bottom path. You could take the bottom path. You know, that might be a little bit less dangerous, but the top path has more boost pads. There's like a section towards the end where it sort of like crosses over, where like you can choose to boost to go through a boosting path or rings or items, you know. So you almost have an option in terms of like, hey, what do I need at this current moment? Do I want to just keep my lead, you know, and get a boost pad, or do I want to just go for the path with an item box? So I like that sort of dynamic feeling of it. And like I said, there's a flying section in the middle. That's pretty cool, where you have to dodge the lasers. I feel like it uses the aesthetic really well. And like I said, there's nothing too crazy about this one, but I don't know. I would almost say that, like, when it comes down to it, driving around it is really fucking fun and really cool. I would almost put this one in like I Love You. I'd put it maybe like right under Kraken Bay, right? And just I feel like I Love You over Hoska and Roulette Road. There's something about the Digital Circus, man. The circuit. Fuck, damn it. Cyberspace, my beloved, is up next. You already know what I'm gonna say about this one, but I will say, yeah, Cyberspace has been one of the highlights of the series, and I love that they picked the highway area. Obviously, that's like the technically new cyberspace levels of all of them. I love this, man. I've always loved this highway area because it looks like a Psycho made it. You know, it's obviously, you know, where Sage just drops the lore that this is where she was born, which, you know, makes sense, obviously, given the context of Frontiers. But this one, again, what I adore about this one is options and pathing, right? I feel like this is one of those tracks you're barely bumping into everybody because everyone's like on a different path. Like, you start it very early on, there's like a bottom room or there's a top road you can take. You could jump through a ring. Like, it feels, here's the best praise I can give this. This one, I get as a level that I would have taken as a main stage. And two, it feels like a Sonic level. Like, it feels like Sonic could have been on foot on this version of Cyberspace and you would have had a super fun level. You know, there's red rings you can jump through. There's a path, you know, that I'm thinking when there's a drift in the middle of it where like there's these blue blocks where you can actually like drift towards them if you're feeling crazy and ballsy and get a big skip on everybody. There's a flying section where you have like, again, even in the flying section, there's layers. You know, you can go towards the right, towards the top path with rings, towards the bottom path with items, left path, you know, that's a little bit more dangerous, that has boosts. Like, there's so much dynamic moments in it. And towards the end, you are let, oh God, you are let on a giant highway section where like you have to drive you have to dodge the incoming cars towards you, but there's boost pads all over. So it's that risk reward of like, all right, I want to get this boost pad, but a car is really near me. I gotta drift, I gotta move. Like, there is something so special about this, and obviously the remix that plays here is incredible, and it even has a final lap variation that sounds beautiful and chef's kiss and sounds like a remix of all of them. For me, absolutely peak for Cyberspace, no question. I would even say, like, I didn't put it like above Dragon Road. Like, every time I see that one, I'm like, we're driving there. Next up, Galactic Parade, giving some big love to Sonic Colors. I gotta say, I'm glad they picked Galactic Parade, right? Like, you know, I love Sonic Colors. I think, to be fair, Sonic Colors is one of those games you could kind of pick any level from it and it would lead to a cool level, you know, because it's literally a space amusement park. But Galactic Parade is like the most visually striking of all of them. And I feel like they keep that same energy. I feel like Galactic Parade in this game is like sort of this game's closest to Rainbow Road, right? I mean, you literally drive on the Rainbow Road. You have the robots that you're dodging that are shooting lasers towards you. The music is beautiful. The areas are gorgeous. It goes down to a very simple track at the end of the day. Like, it is a lot of drifting. It ends with a cool section where you fly out of it and there's meteors, you know, all around, and you could go between the meteors for some boost. But like, there's a really difficult pathing in the middle of it, where you have to dodge the two robots shooting lasers. And again, you could take risk rewards here where there's like boost pads, but they're on the corner of the road. So if you boost on it, you might like spin out or fall out of the level. But hey, if you take those risks and you know what's up, like, you're in for a good time. Like, it's one of those levels that's super fun to run in time trials, and it's beautiful. Like, it's a visually striking level. And again, I can give a lot of props to the ones where they feel like a Sonic level. Like, again, you could put Sonic on foot here and it would feel like it would work incredibly well. There's not too much on like unique pathing. Like, you're pretty much bumping into everyone here and you're really close to everyone, except for maybe, you know, that end section where you're flying. So yeah, for me, Galactic Parade, I'm gonna go in, I would say, like, I would put it like above Digital Circuit, even above Kraken Bay. I love this level so much. All right, we're down to our final 5 here. Next up is the Golden Temple, a exclusive level actually to this game, like not from anything as far as we're aware. It would be cool if like some of these were like hints at future levels. Like, I know we're gonna see another one that's exclusive to this game, and not many are exclusive to the game in terms of the CrossWorlds. But yeah, Golden Temple, this is this sort of like creepy, like, you go to it and you hear like that humming swell, you're like, whoa, what is going on here? And I gotta say, this one is awesome, and I think a lot of people agree with this one. Visually, it carries for sure. Music wise, it's a carry for sure. But what I like about this one is a lot of multi-pathing here, right? Early on, you can choose to go from the middle, you can go towards the right, you can go towards the left, and there's these like giant balls, you know, falling down that you have to dodge. I will say that giant balls, are a little bit hard to dodge. Like, sometimes they are really big and you kind of like literally have to like drift on the absolute corner of the spot. But nonetheless, I think it's a super fun level to run because, again, people are all different directions. And then it ends on like, well, not it ends, but like the second half of it is like you are in a full water section, right? And again, you're still, everything is still all around you. That's golden. And you can do some jumps on the water, do some path skipping, but it's not too heavy. But overall, man, I think Golden Temple, simple track, but like, again, like I said, visually super carried, you know. And I think the music and aesthetic of it go a long way to make it stand out a lot. I'm gonna put it in, overall, I would put it in like the top of pretty cool, because again, I think it's carried by the visuals and music for sure, because layout wise, it's pretty cool. I mean, you have like your different spots, and it ends with a water section. Obviously, there's a lot of rings in it to, you know, push the golden aesthetic, but overall, pretty cool. All right, next up, we have Hidden World from Sonic Lost World. This one, I don't know how I feel about this one, man. This might be our only, or maybe in terms of these, because obviously visually it's meant to look like the Special Worlds and Lost Stage, which like already kind of look a little ugly in my opinion. Like, there's way too many colors going around it. There's some cool jumps you can do, but there's also those creepy Pac-Man looking characters that are like roaming around, which I hate so much. But this, in terms of layout, it's pretty cool. You know, there's a flying section in the middle with 3 different paths you can take. There's, you know, a heavy drift section early on with a lot of rings, and then it ends on that like weird colorful ground that I really don't like. But like, there's something about the way this one's laid out that I just don't like too much. Even like when you do tricks, I feel like it's easy for you to like fall off the stage and stuff like that. I don't know, it's not too engaging for me. I don't know if I like the visuals. Like, I feel like I'm still debating in my mind whether I like them or not. And those creepy Pac-Man guys are horrifying. So I'm gonna go for the Hidden World. I don't hate it. It's pretty cool, but it's like, it's not, there's too much wrong. I don't know. It's it for me. All right, next up is Steampunk City, another game original level. Holy shit, do I love Steampunk City. One, what a fucking cool aesthetic for a level in this world. And again, really tons of multi-pathing, and really feels like this could just straight up be a Sonic level, you know, because you can picture it in your mind, like, you know, there's like a right path early on where you can take a boost. Early on, there's like a flying section that's super good where you can like go all the way down and drift all the way up. There's sections where like there's a train that like is thumping the ground that you could go in the middle of it to get some boost pads, or you could go towards the left to like a bottom path. There are so many different paths in this level, you know what I mean? And then it ends with like a cool flying section where like there's steam coming out of like these flying trains, and you can go choose, you know, take the risk to go towards them to get your boost, or, you know, you could just fly safely. But just aesthetic wise, it's awesome. Music wise, it's awesome. It's one of those levels, once again, where it doesn't feel like you're bumping into people because there's so many different paths that it feels like everyone's on a different spot in this one. Like, I love Steampunk City. I'm sure a lot of you guys do. And obviously in the comment section below, please let me know what ends up being some of your favorites in the game. But yeah, Steampunk City for me, I think is just one of the best ideas. And I pray they implement it in a Sonic game. Like, that's just what I want more than anything. I'm gonna go in like I love you for this. I would put it like, I'd put it above Galactic. I'd put it actually probably in the top of I Love You. Like, I just think like it's an aesthetic beauty. It's a level that feels dynamic like a Sonic level. There's areas where you can even like drive up on the gears. It's so good. I love it so much. And it's also like a test of skill. Like, I feel like it's a level that's hard to master, which, like, if you do the time trial for it, it is hard to master, and to decide what is the optimal path here. All right, we've got two more to talk about over here. Next up, we have the one and only Sweet Mountain, which, you know, two colors representations in this game. And again, if you're gonna take one that looks unique from Sonic colors, it's gonna be Sweet Mountain. And I gotta say, bro, sweet looking level. They did a good job of making Sweet Mountain look as beautiful as it deserves. And I gotta say again, this one is so much fun, right? Like, there's early on, there's different paths you can take, right? You know, someone can take a top path or a bottom path, right? There's like a section in the middle where there's donuts, and like if you take the ramp towards the donut, you can get a trick and get an item in it. But if you fumble it, you hit the donut and it slows you down a little bit. So a little bit of risk reward. There's a fun little water section in the middle of it. It's one of those levels where it's like, yeah, there's not too much going on in terms of difficulty, but like, it's just super fun. And it also does utilize all three. It has a water section, it has regular driving, and it even has a flying section towards the end where you're dodging like the big, you know, colored balls from like the end of the boss of Sonic Colors. So for me, like, I felt like Sweet Mountain was like really well represented. It would have been cool, I feel like, if like they had done it where you drift all the way up the giant burger level that they have in the game. But I think they did like a good job of you know, making it a level where it's like, all right, how do we like make this level look good and feel good? I feel like that's kind of what this is. This is a level that could genuinely just have been a main stage in the game, and I would have been happy with it. You know, there isn't like one gimmick about it, like, oh my god, this is fucking crazy, like in the top three up there. But I think from the music, aesthetic, style, and gameplay of it, I'm gonna put it like I'd put it like right under Galactic Parade, but above, you know, some of these. I just love Sweet Mountain. And to cap it all off, we have our Sonic Riders representation. Funny enough, our only one, which is the White Cave. Interesting choice to pick from Riders instead of, you know, like, what's the first level called? Metropolis? Or I don't think it's Metropolis. You know what I mean? The first, like, you know, city area from Sonic Rise. I have a lot of opinions on White Cave. One, I think aesthetically is really good. Music is really good. I think that goes for most of these areas. But I will say, right, in terms of a track, it's a little bit all over the place, right? Like, I think it has a good idea, right? You know, there's a giant section in the middle where it's a giant circle and everybody can take their own paths. But then there's like the driving section where like there's like these half trees that you ride on, and like it just feels like it's easy to fall off a lot, you know. And it feels like it's like laid out sporadically, which maybe is the point. I don't know. Like, that's the thing, is like, I don't know what they were going for here. Was the point for it to be sporadic and difficult? Is that like a design flaw, right? There's, you know, there's a section at the end where there's like these like vines coming out of the ground, which I think is pretty clever, where like if you take the risk to go there before the vine pops out, you can do a trick. But that middle section of the level where you're going through the half pipe and you're driving and trying to dodge these like giant red things or trying not to fall off can be like a little bit confusing and all over the place. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like there could have been better riders representation, right? I feel like the level layout for this one is not really the best. It's like I said, it's kind of just like it feels like they just kind of wanted something a little bit more chaotic, which maybe some people like. Maybe mastering this level would make me like it a bit more, but for now, I'm gonna go in eh. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm probably gonna go there. Dude, I don't look forward to the White Cave, even though I love Riders and I love the music of it. But yeah, that is my ranking of the of the CrossWorlds in the game. Please let me know in the comment section below yours. I think overall they did a damn good job. You know, I think it'd be cool if we got free DLC CrossWorlds, right? And again, I think the reason why my top 3 are the top 3 over here in Absolute Peak is because I think these are the 3 that like could straight up just be a Sonic stage through and through, and I would have been absolutely happy, right? And I'm happy that most of these are like peak or loves, and I think, you know, I'm very excited to see how you guys rank these in the comment section. But yeah, I hope they had free CrossWorlds, because I believe, you know, the DLC characters are they just come with, well, actually no, they just come with a main track. I don't know if they come with a CrossWorld variant, but I will say, yeah, overall what they did here with the CrossWorld idea is really clever, right? And I feel like they did a damn good job representing, like, you know, again, Secret Rings is so weird to represent it, but it's like, I love Secret Rings, but like, why not Black Knight, you know, or why not like Sonic CD representation, right? Or even if like you're gonna pick a Shadow the Hedgehog stage, you're gonna pick Digital Circuit, you know, over something like, you know, the final area. Or I was even shocked they didn't even have like a Radical, oh no, they do have Radical Highway, but Space Colony Arc in there. But hey, I'll take it. They got some weird picks. I would have liked more original ones, because like, again, Golden Palace or Golden Temple and Steampunk City are like genuine standout highlights of new areas, and I hope it's an indication of where like Sonic Team would like to go and what they would like to do with some of these aesthetics later on in the game. But overall, I'm really happy with these. Let me know in the comment section below which ones you would like to see maybe added in the future, and which one of these are your favorites. Thank you all for watching. You guys are the best, and of course, I will see you all next time. Peace out.